Welcome to the Prospect Pod, powered by the Weekly Streamer. You can follow the Weekly Streamer on Instagram and Twitter at Weekly Streamers. And here's your host.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well today. We have an awesome episode lined up for you today. But before I get into that, we got to make sure that we take care of some housekeeping here. And of course, we got to mention that you got to subscribe to the podcast if you're not already. And if you are, thank you very much. If you can rate and review us, that'd be fantastic. Really gets our name out there into the industry. And honestly, we couldn't be doing this without you, so we definitely appreciate everything that you do for us. Most of our listeners or followers on here do follow us on Facebook. We have two pages, actually. We have a public page in which you do see a lot of the material that we post here to the Weekly Streamer. And we do have a private page where a lot of, Discord, talking back and forth, going into a lot of different topics. It's a fun place to be. It's a great community. You can find the top 100 rankings on there for both Dynasty prospects and first-year player draft, all on Facebook for free. If you're not over there, please join us. We'll be very happy to be able to have you there. We are available on Instagram, Twitter. You can follow us at The Weekly Streamer. You can follow me directly at Must Be the Hawk. Most of the stuff I post on there is prospect related, so if you're into that kind of thing, which I assume that you are since you're listening, please give me a follow on there. Today, I've got a amazing guest, quite frankly. I mean, I try to come up with all sorts of really awesome, taglines and things like that. But quite frankly, this man almost needs no introduction. If I could talk, that'd be great. You guys know him as the Country Biscuit from the Full Count Pod. It is Mr. Hunter Rakes. Hunter, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing, man. I got a new nickname. I'm the Baron of Biscutville. Just bringing all the gravy for all my followers, the peasants in Biscuitville.
So, is that what you're going to call them? Peasants?
Yeah, peasants. Yeah. Wow. Baron of Biscuit. We don't play in Biscuitville. It's like Margaritaville. More carbs.
I hope that you do know that there is a fine eating establishment that serves only biscuits here in Greensboro and then the southern states here called Biscuitville.
They're going to have to change their name. Like Biscuit.
Clearly.
Biscuit Avenue. Biscuit Town.
Hey,
Biscuit Ridge. I mean, I could be like I could be the Baron of Biscuit. Like that kind of sounds very right.
I mean, if you're a Baron, you're pretty classy to begin with.
I know.
Pretty impressive.
I don't know if there's anybody who knows anything about Baron. What does that mean to be a Baron? Does it just mean like I own it? Or am I like a Duke?
I don't know the ins and outs of Baronry. So if you do know about the question,
go to the Facebook page and comment and tell me what it takes to become a Baron.
Yeah, or if you don't follow the Biscuit on Twitter, you could follow him at TWS Biscuit. Go ahead and tweet him out. I am sure that he will know exactly what you're talking about. And respond in a timely manner.
Because the one thing I know about Barons is they are red and make pizza. Red.
Okay.
I've been waiting to use that drop for a long time. And There we go. That was fantastic. Well, Hunter, although we always enjoy having you on here to cut up, which is what we do in our everyday lives. For those who don't know, we do have a private channel in which that we as moderators talk back and forth. And literally, this is what we do all day.
24/7. All day.
We talk nothing but baseball and cut up with tons of GIFs, whatever you want to call them.
It's a GIF. Maybe.
Yeah.
GIF is peanut butter.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We do that on the constant and come up with all these great ideas to be able to bring to you. So I think what you're looking for is you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. For the sun, for the stars, the stars in the sky.
There you go. All the dads out there are smiling and laughing because they know exactly what we're talking about.
Dad jokes. Dad jokes, baby.
Exactly. The reason why we have the Country Biscuit in here today for this fine podcast establishment that we have here called The Prospect Pod, powered by the Weekly Streamer, is we are deep diving into the Cincinnati Reds farm system. This is a farm system that I believe is on the uptick based on a lot of this. And Hunter Rakes was actually the one that ended up going through and doing the write-up on here. We did a bit of a collaboration type of deal here, but Hunter really led the charge with this. And quite frankly, man, you did a very, very, very good job. For those of you who haven't seen it already, on Facebook, we do feature 1 through 5 on the Facebook page, both private and public. You guys can read Hunter's write-ups that are on there. And if you want to get into the deeper dives into there, we do show 1 through 10 write-ups and 11 through 30 rankings with 2 risers on our brand new Weekly Streamer Patreon page. And for as low as $5 a month, you will be able to have access to the full write-ups that we do on a weekly basis. So 4 write-ups a week, or 4 write-ups a month, and on top of all of our rankings and everything else that we do here at the Weekly Streamer. And we do several articles a week. Matty Ballgame, Matthew Bazin has been doing a lot of really awesome pitching articles. Those 2 are only found on the Weekly Streamer Patreon page. So, Hunter, we are going to dive into your write-ups here with the Cincinnati Reds. But before we do that, I do want to ask you a question. I kind of said where I think that the system's heading. What did you think whenever you were writing this system up?
So I think the system has a lot of potential at the top. I think you're going to see the top 2 names are definitely guys that I'm excited about. I think they have killed the draft this year. I think they have done a very good job in previous drafts at the top. We haven't seen a ton in the back end. I'm looking forward to that. And you'll also see me talk about how they have international market. Now that has not handed out amazing for us in the past. We have finally got to see Vladimir Gutierrez this year. Who was a big spin a couple years back. But you're going to see a trio of outfielders I'll kind of mention briefly. One of my risers, international guy we spent on. So a lot of pro-ready guys at the top, and then it kind of shrinks down to fourth outfielder, quadruple A guys. We have a lot of international talent that I'm excited about. So I don't think it's a top. I think we kind of rest in that 10 range, but a lot of potential. And before we get to the first names, a lot of people were very upset with how the Reds went Miley. Talking about moving Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray. First 2 names in this list. A lot better about those decisions. I think it's kind of giving the Reds a security blanket on how they handle those decisions. You can never be optimistic as a Reds fan because that would be foolish. Like you always just have to expect you're going to suck. But I feel like we may suck a little less.
So for those of you who don't listen to the Full Count pod this past year, which I don't see how you can not listen to the Full Count pod, absolutely, expert fantasy advice, you would know already that Hunter Rakes is a Cincinnati Reds fan. Part of the reason why we assigned him to be able to do the Cincinnati Reds, it's good to be able to get a hometown opinion. And if anything that Hunter brings to the table here with this write-up is the fact that he does not hold back any punches.
Nope.
He will tell it like it is, and that's what the Country Biscuit's all about. And for those of you who are actually watching our live, well, I wouldn't say it's live. This is pre-recorded. But if you're watching the video for this...
Hey, baby, it's live. It's one take, baby. One take.
Well, it's always one take.
One take.
We're one take. We're one taking all these podcasts. But for those of you who are listening in or watching, for that matter, you will see Hunter in his awesome brand new Cincinnati Reds hat, repping it like a champ that he is. And, of course, what I nicknamed him years ago, the Kentucky Wildcat.
In my wedding ring is actually a Kentucky as well. I'm pretty lame.
Hey, that's not as lame as free advertising.
Hey!
Listeners are just saying, I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, shameless plug. Yeah.
They're just saying, I have no earthly idea what they're holding. So that works. But anyway, Hunter, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get into your write-up here. And, your first prospect that you had on here is Hunter Greene. Hunter Greene was taken in the 2017 draft with the second overall pick in the first round by your Cincinnati Reds. This is a guy that has dealt with a lot of injuries, has overcome them here in 2021 with a good year. And Hunter, what can you tell me about Mr. Hunter Greene?
So I want to take this first and tell you that I'm sorry. The biscuit was wrong. I probably talked more smack about Hunter Greene going into last year and the year before than anybody had ever talked about Hunter Greene in such a negative fashion. He's nodding. If you can't see him because you're listening. Because it's true. I thought he was a reliever. I thought a very good one. I thought he could be a Rhodes Chat. I kind of made that comparison. I didn't see him as a starter. I thought the starter hype was overblown. I didn't believe in it. Think it was true. And I would like to issue an apology to Hunter Greene and his family. I'm sure Biscuit opinion got to them and it hurt his feelings. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Hunter Greene is the best prospect in the system. It is close. I won't say it is close. I won't say it's far away. Hunter Greene is the reason why they let Wade Molly go. Hunter Greene is the reason why they're okay with shopping Luis Castillo and Sonny Gray. He is electric. I would call him very Steven Strasburg-esque in the sense that he's got a fastball that is nasty. It is an 80 grade level fastball. It's going to hit triple digit ease. I am just blown away by him. He's got three other plus pitches. And a lot, but it's not even the pitches that make me loving Hunter Greene this year. Because I think he always had that. But I think what I always said about the durability. He pitches 110 innings. 110 innings in minor league ball is everything. And it was can he pitch? Right. I've talked about that before. Just because you have stuff doesn't mean you can pitch. He finally learned to pitch. Coaches, scouts finally understood how to go about his day-to-day, how to be professional, and it's all put together. He had a sub-2 ERA and double-A. Absolutely was just mind-numbing. AAA wasn't quite as great. I'm hoping to get out to see him this year. He's there early. But he's been pitching during the week, and we have lives. So it's hard to get out there. But he looks amazing. I think you see him in very short order. If he can hone in walks, which aren't bad, but keep them in that three, he moves up. I really think you have a fantasy. You have a plus caper 9 of 10. I think he is a top 20 starting pitcher. Going forward, he has that potential.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying there, and I think it's very refreshing to have Hunter Greene back on the mound with all the injuries that he's had to deal with to this point. I'll be honest with you, Hunter. I have watched Hunter Greene quite a bit. I did not know, something I learned today, did not know that he is 6'5". I thought that he was maybe like 6 foot, 6'1", whatever the case might be. 6'5" with 230 pounds. I mean, that is a big. He's had to gain some muscle. I haven't looked. He's had to gain some muscle because I remember being very tall and lanky. And some of you brought up injuries and things. He's still just 22. Right. He's still extremely young.
Yeah, I think he was a very 17 when he was young. He was very young when he was drafted. And I think we forget that he was a kid. Because there's still going to be some reliever talk. I don't think now. I think he may not quite reach that top tier. But in terms of strike throwing, and from a fantasy perspective, he is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I was looking on here. One of the things that he ended up adding, he now has a 4-pitch mix, whereas before he was a 3-pitch pitcher, which was kind of leaning towards the reliever role that you were talking about. Mm-hmm. And, of course, arguably the best fastball in all of minor league baseball right now. Right. He did introduce a cutter this past year in which that it sits in the 91 to 93 range miles per hour wise. That plays off so nicely off of his fastball and slider to be able to get that, off tick of off speed there, because you're right. He's sitting in the high 90s the majority of the time with the fastball. You're absolutely right about AAA, where the ERA ended up going up a little bit. The good thing is that the strikeouts were still great, 79 strikeouts and 65 in the third. Even with the average against being on the higher side, it's still slightly average. 240 average against is still not bad. Obviously, it's not the 186 average against that he had in AA, but if he can refine a little bit more like what you're talking about, and clearly he has a good regimen going on to be able to perform to this high level and really put to bed those reliever risks, because I was right there with you. I really did think that he was going to.
Right, and he's in Louisville. So he plays 20 minutes. And all I have heard is how he just looks like he's just put together. And what's scary is we're about to talk about the second. He may not even be the best pitcher in our system. Maybe not. Maybe not. Isn't that crazy? As great as he is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Hunter, you alluded to your second prospect that you have on here. We are going to talk about him here right now. Nick Lodolo is your second prospect that you have on here. He is a left-handed pitcher. So, good lefty specialist here, 23 years old. He's 6'6", 205 pounds. He was drafted in the first round with the 7th overall pick in 2019 out of TCU. Hunter, what can you tell me about Mr. Nick Lodolo?
So considering Castellanos is gone, I'm now quoting him Big Nick Lodolo, and I think that even sounds better than Big Dick Nick Castellanos. Yeah, Big Dick.
Please, can we get that on a shirt? Yeah. Somebody who's listening, can we get it on a shirt, please?
Big Dick Nick Lodolo. Lodolo sounds way better. It sounds like he's got the mafia behind him. He's spaghetti and meatballs. Just asking for pastrami with his cannoli,
like everybody.
If I'm having pastrami, I want a cannoli. So, the hype on Nick, all jokes aside, Nick Lodolo has the higher floor than Hunter Green. Nick Lodolo is arguably the third best pitcher on the Reds right now. And he's in AAA. He could arguably be that good. He came out of college as a stereotypical polished lefty. He had everything you wanted. He was going to be solid no matter what. He was a strike thrower, but he had great control. But I didn't know that it was ever going to the next level. But he has just been fantastic. Double A. As good as Hunter Green was, he was just as good. He struck out 68 guys in 44 innings. Came to AAA, struggled a little bit. Similarly to Hunter Green. The strikes were still there. The walks were not completely terrible. And while Green has that higher ceiling, I think Lodolo. There's a better chance of Lodolo being really good than there is of Hunter Green being great. So I was a really struggle for me because the safe biscuit that we all know me as probably put Lodolo right there. Hunter Green's just too hard to pass up. But I'm telling you right now, they might be the two best pitchers on our entire organization, and that's with Castillo and Sonny Gray. Those guys still there. They're arguably better than anyone. That's why they're okay with Castillo. Castillo left 2 years left to control. That's why. So I think you see them early. You can probably tell me more about Lodolo. You're much better with that kind of stuff. I have a feel and a fantasy pro from what I can see. You're better with the pitch mixes and all that stuff. Special pitcher. But from what I've seen, videos I've watched, knowing people in the Bash organization, they are just fantastic. They're the future. I would hopefully see them by the All-Star break at the latest. Maybe even earlier. They might break camp, depending on the trade Castillo and Gray or not.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing to see what they have in these two guys. These are arguably going to be, the future top end of the rotation, no doubt. Gwen Stefani's cheering on the sidelines left and right for that. But you got to drop that. Anyway, so Nick Lodolo, whenever he was drafted in 2019 out of TCU, this was a pitcher that didn't quite have the velocity, but had the control. And a lot of the concerns was whether or not the pitches would be able to get swing and miss. It wasn't something that he was particularly known for while he was at TCU. And really surprised a lot whenever he was drafted. Like I said, the control is really good. It's not quite to George Kirby good, but it's not far. Really not far from it. And really, Hunter, this is a little bit of a statement outside the box of just Cincinnati. You look back at that 2019 draft class, and a lot of folks were saying that the bats were much better than the pitchers that were in that draft class. I remember a lot of folks saying that.
Yep.
And they are really good, but I think these pitchers from this 2019 draft class actually really took a step forward. When you're talking about George Kirby, you're talking about Nick Lodolo, you're talking about Alek Manoah in the major leagues right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a little bit better than what they were originally hyping it up as.
Because I remember when we took Lodolo, you have to take Lodolo because he's safe. Because every other pitcher in that class was almost. I don't want to use the word fool's gold. It was very. It was going to trick. He was the safe bet. He wasn't even the first one to see the majors. Alek Manoah. Most people pegging as a reliever. Proved us wrong. So
no, exactly. It proved me wrong on that for sure.
Right.
But whenever he came into the league, he was sitting, Nick Lodolo wise, he was sitting, 91, 92. The velocity wasn't really there. This guy has now ticked up his velocity to a point where he's sitting 96 in games. That's what's really getting hitters off balance a lot. And being from the left side with a lefty pitcher, you got to absolutely love that. You're absolutely right. Whenever he got to AAA, he did struggle a little bit. It was only in 6 2/3 innings, 3 starts. He just really got roughed up, is what it seems like. But for the most part,
give him a lot of homers.
But I mean, in 6 2/3, I mean, he gave up 2 homers in AAA, only 1 in 44 innings pitched in AA. So I think he just got thrown off a little bit, either mechanics wise. I do know that Lodolo was dealing with a little bit of an injury too, and it might have just been hampering him whenever he did get called to the AAA. But 68 strikeouts in 44 innings pitched, under a 200 average against. You love seeing that from a guy that's supposed to be, your mainstay at the top of a rotation going forward. And I'm pretty excited to see what they do with Nick Lodolo here in 2022. Hunter, I agree with what you're saying. They're probably going to send him to AAA and then try to fast track him to the majors. Depending really on what happens with this CBA too is really going to determine what happens with Lodolo and Green for that matter. But it wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me in the slightest if we end up seeing them sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
Hunter,
you're 100% right.
Yeah. Well, I try to be that way.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm like one of those clocks. You know the saying. I can't say it.
Broke clocks twice a day.
This works well for a fantasy baseball advice channel.
Yeah. Hey, we give dad advice. I'll teach you to change a diaper. I mean, whatever you need me to do. Yeah. Follow the flat. I got you, man.
You could bring that to the Discord channel here on the Patreon. You get all access to us. You can ask us all questions, even if they're dad questions. We actually prefer that. Ryan, your host Ryan Ankoviak is like the ultimate dad.
Oh, dude, I thought I was until I met him. And Ryan is like Jimmy Neutron. He is just amazing. He is the most dad person I've ever met. He has the best dad jokes. I thought mine were good. They're not quite as. Not even close.
If you get that Raging Eagle gift that he ends up dropping all the time, we're not going to talk about it. But you know what I'm talking about. And if you're in Discord, I guarantee you're going to see it too. But moving right along here, we're going to talk about your next prospect that you have here. And this is a little exciting because this is coming from this year's draft class. He's over here running. He's so darn excited. Jay Allen is an outfielder, 19 years old, 6'3", 190 pounds. He was taken in the compensation round of the first, I believe. It's with the 30th overall.
Pick 30?
It's pick 30, but you got to remember that Astros didn't have their pick.
Yeah, so that's comp.
It's the first comp pick I think that the Reds ended up getting here in the 2021 draft. Jay Allen, what can you tell me about him?
I I love me some Jay Allen. Quick biscuit soapbox. So what I love about Jay Allen. This is what I think most kids in high school should learn. A lot of people get told you have to pick one sport or the other. You have to play basketball. You have to play football. You have to play football. You have to. You have to third, right? This, that, and third. He was a star. He was a star in baseball. Football and baseball. Played multiple sports. And I think kids who play multiple sports become better pro athletes. They just acclimate themselves better to pro life. College life. They handle things better because the different skill sets each sport. He was going to go to Florida. He was going to go to Florida and to play baseball for the Gators. And we signed him away. $2.8 million in the overslot. I just think he's fantastic. I just think he's 190. 6'3", 190. He's an athletic freak. The book was he was just an athlete. And I know if you've listened before, I can't stand that. Like I can't stand they have all these tools. They have all these tools. They can't put them together. High strikeout rates, but they can't walk anybody. Or they have 40 homer power, but strike out 190 times. I hate that. He had 3 homers this year. 14 stolen bases. 328 with 40 OBP. He only K'd 12 times and 61 at bats and walked 8. He had excellent numbers with this. It wasn't rookie ball level. But for an 18, 19-year-old kid to come out there, show the speed that we weren't sure on the base, show some pop. He's got a projectable frame. And if the walk rates and the K rates are there, and as he matures and kind of his first time, just focusing on baseball. I'm telling you, Jay Allen is going to be a top 100 prospect this time next year. He might even be top. I think he's a guy. He is. If he wasn't already in my riser, I think Jay Allen is fantastic. Jay Allen is one of the most exciting people I've been excited about in the organization in a long time. I think he's fantastic. I want every share of Jay Allen I can get.
Man, that's some strong words.
I might be wrong. I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot. Ask my wife. But I don't know, man. I don't know, man. You know, like I saw the stolen base. Don't get too excited about power. And you look at the strike, and the strikeouts were low. And then you see the 6-3, and then I hear the sports. He's never really focused on one. Now he is coachable. Like and he was 4-1 in him. That's a school in the SEC. I just everything just like, and I'm a comic book nerd. So I hear the name Allen. I think Flash, and I'm like, let's go. Like Jay Garrick, Jay Allen, DC. I was like, this is my guy. So,
see, that's what I'm talking about. Bring the energy here, Biscuit. That's what I'm talking about.
Give me all the Jay Allen. All day, every day. Beard game. He needs a beard. Be part of the beard game.
Beard game. There we go. Exactly.
Right.
So absolutely agree 100% with what you're saying here with Jay Allen. I really do think that there's good, upside here. Extremely athletic, like you said, is one of the main points with Jay Allen. More than likely will probably end up settling into a left or right field role down the line. There's a lot of bat speed right here. Even playing field, good, be able to get loft. There is a little bit of swing and miss to his game. From what a lot of scouts in high school were talking about. At the pro level so far, I mean, it's reasonable. But quite frankly, the walk rate is fantastic, which means that he's selected at the plate, he's going to swing at, what he thinks that he can do more damage with. And at this point, while he's filling into his body, he is, hitting, a good amount of doubles and triples. He hit 4, he ended up hitting 7 extra base hits total, 3 doubles and 1 triple in that time. That leads me to believe that he is, somebody who is going to be able to hit for power in the future, be able to hit gap to gap. That's exactly what you want. The stolen bases is fantastic, and the ability to steal on the bases. Countless amount of times, Christian Pache comes to mind right away. You can have all the speed in the world, but if you don't have the instincts on the bases, doesn't do anything. And quite frankly, in fantasy purposes, Jay Allen's a guy that you can get behind in some of your dynasty leagues, 10, 12, 20 team leagues and up. And I mean, this can really set up your outfield for the long term. So I'll be interested to see where they end up assigning him next year. To start off, I'd venture to guess with his good performance here in rookie ball that more than likely you'll see him in low A.
I'd love to see him in low A.
That would actually be something pretty awesome to be able to see with Jay Allen for next year.
The only thing I'll bring up where he may go back to rookie ball is there's a lot of outfielders. A lot of outfielders like 17, 18 years old. He may go low A, they may go low A, they may go to rookie ball. It just depends on how they make that work. Their lineup.
If he does go to rookie ball, there ain't no way that they're going to keep him down very long.
No, you wouldn't think. Right.
He's putting up numbers like how C.J. Abrams was putting up whenever he was drafted with the Padres.
Dude, I don't know. No, yeah, man. No, I just look at everything. You know me, like I go through the progressions, right? And I go like, what's the first thing is always where those at? Check a box. What, and then I look at stolen bases. They're fine. See the projectable body. The positive reviews from the coach. Who's for athletes. I always. And I just checking boxes. And I'm like, this kid's legit. And I'm all on it. I think he's just. And it wasn't like it was like basketball. I think everybody. I'm not mad about basketball. I love basketball, obviously. But he was football and baseball to me, like that's part of it. Go out there and take hits. Go out and play baseball and not be scared to take a hit. I think he's fantastic. Jay Allen, all day long. Buy him now while you can. He will have 100 to 50 prospect value this time next year. Biscuit's calling it.
Smothered in gravy. There we go.
I don't know what that was. Something.
Is that a dab?
I don't. No, it was the arrow. It's like the arrow where you like.
Oh, like the Hawkeye arrow.
They do it when they shoot threes. It's like Devin Booker. Devin Booker did it. Or Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray did this.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Very well. Moving.
You're like, you don't know who that is.
Next. Done. Anyway, moving right along. The next prospect that's here on your list. This guy was actually taken in the first round of this year's draft. It is Matt Mclean, a shortstop, 22 years old. He is 5'11", 180 pounds. Matt Mclean, taken in the first round, 17th overall by the Cincinnati Reds, out of the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA. What can you tell me about Matt Mclean?
So everything that I love about Jay Allen, he doesn't have. Like he is the opposite. He's the opposite. Jay Allen doesn't have McClain. I compared him in the write-up. He's going to be Chris Taylor of almost been Zobrist like player. If they get shortstop, but defensive versatility, UCLA, he can fill that multi-utility role. We're still looking for a shortstop. For anybody listening, Jose Barrero is not it. Was not impressed. AAA. Side note, he would have been in my top 10. Had he been eligible, I do not like Jose Barrero. Do not buy him. Not my favorite. Preach. I think we're needing a shortstop there. You also swing to second. Because god awful. Move to third. If we think Suarez is dead, he might be. I think he can go all the way around. I think he's got a fantastic kid tool. He's more of a 15 homers, 10 bases. He's not going to be fantastic in any of that. The walk rate's going to be good. It's not going to be bad. He's going to be an absolute solid major leaguer. He could probably start on a major league roster. Today, honestly, Pirates. I mean, you could. But I really think he's a team needs. He's not flashy. He's on some top 100 lists. I don't know if I get behind a lot of that. because he's close. But he's not there. Because of his ceiling. He'll probably never make an All-Star game. But he will be. In my favorite term. He's going to be a steady Eddie. He is a Hall of Fame level steady Eddie. He will probably play for 15 years in the majors. Steady Eddie. And I think. And for someone who likes steady Eddies, give me Matt all day long. And also, side note, because I tried to look him up like 14,000 times today. It's Mclean. McLean. So when you're trying to Google him in Fantrax, because or ESPN or Yahoo, and he's not at the top. You have to Google. If you do MCC, you'll never find him. So side note, pro tip. It's capital L. You're welcome. Save you some time.
Watch out, Home Depot. We're coming out with pro tips here. That's it.
First of all, Home Depot is terrible. We are sponsored by Menards here. Save big money at the streamer.
Every dad who listens to that Home Depot theme song is like, yeah.
I'm in my garage. Let me grab my mower right here.
Yeah, why not? Take a hammer, put it through the wall. I'm putting up a picture. I'm good at things, right?
There you go. I'm going to build a fence this summer. Anybody wants to drive to Indiana to help me build a fence.
We also have free advertising, apparently. No, I agree with Matt McLean here. You look at his numbers from this year. I mean, they grade him out as average power. He might get to average power. There's not a whole lot of gap to gap power here in terms of doubles, triples, anything along that line. A little bit of speed here that can translate into stolen bases. I think what you were saying there, 15, maybe 20 stolen bases. I know he'll give you more stolen bases probably than home runs at the next level. The bat is very, very good. There's good bat to ball skills, makes solid contact with the ball. So you're going to get good average. You're going to get great OBP via the walks. That's something that he is very patient at the plate. Reminds me a lot of DJ LeMahieu in the fact that he is just extremely he is just very focused on the bat, and what power he comes into is great. And this is Rockies DJ LeMahieu. This is not Yankees. All of a sudden I pop it up in the air and it falls over the stands every time. DJ LeMahieu. So yeah, I like that. I think that this is a solid prospect. I kind of see what you're talking about with, probably not a top 100 prospect. I think that he has a lot of that Tyler Freeman bat to ball skill type of guy here for prospects. And you guys know
good comp too.
I love Tyler Freeman a lot. But there's also a limitation on fantasy wise what that'll be able to give you. If McLean does give you, in the way of stolen bases, obviously the OBP and the stolen bases help you. This could be a little bit better than Freeman in that case. Therefore, I could see him in the back end of a top 100, but I don't foresee this guy being like Madrigal was, where he's living up there in the top 10 range. I don't really see that.
Yeah. No, because he doesn't do anything from a fantasy perspective. Doesn't do anything that stands out. Doesn't do anything that stands out. His best format is in a daily league that preferably is points because of the walks. But I think he's going to be fantastic. I think he's going to be 30-man leagues. It would not shock me. He's a guy who has shortstop base eligibility at one time. I think he can play all the positions. He's going to be a play guy at some point. I love a good steady Eddie. And I have. Even as much as I love Lodolo and Green, I am the most confident of anybody in this class that McLean is going to be at least average at the next level. I am confident that he is going. He's already in high A. He'll start the year in double. He'll be in the majors, but just because he's one of those guys.
Wow.
Cup of coffee. But I mean, he'll be in double. He'll do fine in double. Everything he does translates. So he was going to be extremely fast riser. He's not going to do anything in fantasy. He's going to make you salivate. He's going to have a lot of positions, and he'll play a lot. So
I like it a lot. Moving right along to your next prospect that you have on here. This is a guy that I've been watching a lot of this year in terms of the numbers going up. Really excited to be able to see the good growth that he's been able to carry into the 2021 season. This is Graham Ashcraft. He is a right-handed pitcher, 23 years old, 6'2", 240 pounds. He is a big boy. Drafted in the 2019 draft class in the 6th round, 174th overall by your Cincinnati Reds. Hunter, Mr. Graham Ashcraft, what can you tell me?
I'll tell you what. I'll have to give credit to where we were on this podcast last year. And I don't know if it was in the pod, if it was in the private message chat. Kyle Harris said, "Hey, pay attention to Graham Ashcraft." And I was like, I don't pay attention to anything the Reds do because they kill my soul. I was eye blacking last year. If anybody remembers the problem last year, eye black, ready to go, just talking about them. And then they kind of hey, sucked again. It's like sucked again. I'm not quite eye black this year. I like Graham Ashcraft. Like him a lot. 6th round draft pick. Was almost an afterthought. Someone that he can throw strikes. The walks will probably catch up to him. He's somebody that we're not going to be able to quite be a starter. But he's got the build. And he's done nothing but be fantastic, right? So far last year, he pitched 100 minor league ball. We talked about earlier is what he had 129 Ks and 137 walks. Only 37 walks. Sported a 3 ERA. Across the board. 3.36 and double A, which is beyond solid, and with a 1.13 whip. I think he's somebody that while he's not an ace, he's probably on 2. If we're going to be 100% honest. But he's got a 60 grade fastball. He's fastball slider all day long. He'll probably be a very good starter. 4th or 5th starter. Honest, he's a better weight. Think he could be that guy for us. And if not, he can have a future in the bullpen. Which we lost the greatest hitting pitcher of all time in Michael Lorenzen. So we need somebody to fill that gap. Ohtani who? So,
jeez, yeah, that's some strong words. I mean, I see probably SB3 profile here, and the fact that he can get swing and miss. Obviously we saw in Double A whenever he got promoted up there, the strikeouts ticked down a little bit from where they were previously. But what I really like about this Hunter is the 212 average against that we're seeing here with Graham Ashcraft, and this carried from high A to Double A. He will be able to keep the ball in the ballpark, only giving up 4 home runs as well. That's something that you want to see, from some of these pitchers. And obviously with the age being 23, it will not surprise me at all if they're somewhat aggressive with him next year as well. Run him out of Double A for a little bit, promote him to Triple A.
The Reds rotation. Yeah. They're all close. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they really are. They're all very close, and Ashcraft has already been able to hit triple digits a couple times, and he usually typically sits around that 95 to 96 range with his fastball. So, a lot of good things to see here with Graham Ashcraft, and I think it's exciting. I'm very, very excited. I've went out and grabbed him in a couple of my 30-man leagues, and believe it or not, even with a good year like that, he is still extremely attainable.
Extremely attainable.
Yeah. Without high costs. And even if what Hunter's saying is where he's an SP4, SP5, that's still extremely useful here in these deep dynasty leagues. And quite frankly, I think that he has another level to be able to be a good, solid SP3, in the long run.
Well, he's a fantasy relevant because of the strikeouts.
Right.
So even if he's a 4-5 guy, because of the case, he's going to be relevant. The only thing even gives me pause is he's fastball slider, right? Like fastball slider kind of screams like I'm going to be a reliever. But he's shown so far that he can do that. He's a big boy. I have a lot of faith. But we were talking about earlier. I get as trying to be the most optimistic Reds fan possible, having three pitchers in my top five, I get why they're okay with letting Wade Mother walk. They're okay with trading Soto. I wish. Sonny Gray, these guys steal. I understand that. Right? I get it.
Yeah, and I mean the control seems like it's at least under control to a point.
The control is under control.
The control is under control.
Man, that is
Here at the weekly streamer, control is always number one.
Yeah, just like that.
Thanks, John Man.
Tough acting, tin acting. Boom.
Okay,
cool.
Okay, going on.
This episode is arguably the most dad episode I think that we've had.
If you guys knew it was gonna be though. Yeah.
If you guys like this style, please let us know. Or don't, and we probably won't do it again.
Yeah, or if you don't like it, just shut the up.
Oh my. Anyway, before we get canceled. That was always the running joke.
My pastor stopped listening, so we're good.
We're going to get canceled for this. Anyway,
probably.
Moving on to the next prospect that you have here. This is actually one of my favorites here, for sure. Rhys Heinz, a third baseman. He is 21 years old, 6'4", 215 pounds. He was drafted in 2019 in the second round. 49th overall by your Cincinnati Reds out of IMG Academy in Florida. Hunter, what can you tell me about what you see in Rhys Heinz going forward?
Rhys Heinz. Just loud, right? Loud tools, lots of power. He really absolutely murked rookie ball this year. He was just a force. Went to A-ball. It wasn't quite as good, right? The walk great, the K rate spike, the power still there, fantastic. But only hitting 251, so you worry a little there, as he goes up the ladder. And the only reason he wasn't higher from me is because he's still in low A's. He still has a lot of time to mature. But you're seeing a guy that, 6'4", 215. He's got, 64, 215. Arguably could probably go higher than that. Arguably could honestly 30 to 40. He's got honestly 30 to 40 potential as he matures and he grows. And he adds the bat speed is fantastic. I think with adjustment, being selective as he grows, and he was a high school kid in IMG Academy in Florida. As he grows and he matures, learns how to be a ball player and not just an athlete, which we talked about before. If he can figure that out, I think he's got every bit of potential with the middle order bat. Now let you talk about because this is like your guy. You're the guy who has got me on him. But I don't know if he sticks at third. But I really like the bat. So won't you come to the listeners here? Put the Hawks stamp of approval on him.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. That's a good intro. Yeah, no, absolutely. So rookie ball absolutely took the tools that he learned during the COVID-shortened season. He worked a lot on his launch angle and being able to make bat-to-ball contact, right? That's one of the main things that he really focused on while he was at the alt site. And I wrote about this in my article. Some of the takeaways that you can take from the low A stint at Daytona is the fact that, yes, the average was, a bit lower, 251, OBP at 319 with the slug at 515. So the slug is still okay. It's in the right direction. But this is probably going to be the range in which Rhys Heinz kind of sits, right? So it'll probably be a 250, 260 range for him. Really Pete Alonso-like in that respect.
Like that.
The OBP is something that he's kind of working on a little bit, and the 319, although not great, is still pretty solid for a guy who, going into the 19 draft, had a lot of swing and miss in his game because he is a big individual. He's got a very loopy swing to the point where he can get, fooled. Pete Alonso's getting that way right now. And we saw that in low A, he did have a strikeout rate of 30%. So obviously that's where like Joey Gallo and those guys are in MLB right now. This is going to be a guy that's going to have swing and miss problems. Okay. But the power output is absolutely huge. You heard the Country Biscuit say that he is a plus power tool. There is no reason to believe that he can't be double plus. He had arguably the most power output in the 2019 draft from a high school. Far and away the best power that was in that draft. Just raw. It just needs to be honed in a little bit more. Now, he goes into low A. Here's the plus takeaways that you can take away from his time at low A. 10 home runs, 22 extra base hits. Okay? That's 22 extra base hits in 43 games played.
Oof. Oof.
That's pretty darn stout. And then this is a big guy stealing a couple bags too. 6 stolen bases, nothing to really kind of shake your head at. You know, I really think he'll settle in that 320 to 330 OBP range long term. And if he can tick up those walks to 9-10%, that could be definitely something pretty good here. Rhys Heinz is a guy that I really think that you guys can capitalize on now, because most of the people will look at these stats, you know, as a whole for the year, but look at the ones that from low A and be like, you know, I'll take him. Rhys Heinz is going to be in that Cincinnati Reds lineup at some point. I think honestly he's going to be the replacement for who you got? Suarez, third right now.
Right. Yeah. Not really good option. Not really good option. Yeah. I hope so. I mean, we can use it for sure. We can use it for sure. We sucker now.
Yeah, there you go. At least there's that, I suppose. Now, Hunter, I'm gonna go on, and you made mention a little bit earlier here in the episode about your episode of Eye Black and all that, and you know the next prospect that we're going to be talking about. He's partially the reason why you were bringing in the Eye Black to begin with.
Right.
For those who do remember, when this prospect was drafted, he literally had like war paint coming down his face like this. It wasn't even like the normal football, like, you know, go across with the eye black. It was like put it all over your hands and then just rub it down your face. Austin Hendrick is who we're talking about. The outfielder is 20 years old at this point in his career, 6 foot, 195, a left-handed bat. Plays very, very, very well in the Great American Launching Pad. Selected in the first round, 12th overall in 2020 by your Cincinnati Reds. A little bit of an enigma this year, Hunter. What can you tell me about Austin Hendrick?
So I'm going to start with the positive. And then I'm going to tell you how I really feel. So Austin Hendrick. Austin Hendrick, you know, came out of the draft. He's got as much raw power. If you love guys with raw power, Austin Hendrick is. He only had 7 homers. The swing and the power and the power to be much higher. Maybe not quite as good. Maybe not quite Reese Hines, but he's got Reese Hines raw power. Level raw power. He is athletic. He's explosive. He's explosive. I think he listened to too many people with his swing. He's still figuring it out. He's very raw. He's very raw. He struck out a ton. But he needs to figure that out. But as he starts to learn and figures out his swing, and he figures out his mechanics, he's going to get there. And I think he will, because everything I read and I hear is that he has an insane work ethic. He works harder than anybody. He's going to show up every day and put the work in. So for that, I see potential. How I really feel. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping he's my version of Hunter Green a couple years ago. But he is my least favorite prospect for the entire system. That is ranked this high. He's 3 in a lot of systems. I had to keep him in the top 10. Because I acknowledge. He struck out 100 times. The walks there. But all I see is a guy who has loud tools. And you know me, Rick. I hate players whose calling card is I'm really athletic, but I can't. To me, that is Austin Hendricks. The tools are there. He figures it out. And he works really hard. And he works as hard as I can. He puts the effort. Awesome. But everyone takes you so far in baseball if you can't hit. I hope I'm wrong. I think Austin Hendricks is the guy that I would tomorrow in the next day while he still has top 100 value. Because I think he can hit the broad side of a barn. And I'm not. When he does, go going. He's patient. And he's patient. He'll take a walk. The dude has terrible mechanics. So buyer beware. Hope I'm wrong. I will own it next year's podcast thing.
So this profile is something you as a Reds fan has seen time and time.
All the time.
I put in here in the write-up that he follows the path of Jay Bruce, Adam Duvall, Scott Schebler, and the list goes on and on and on of these hitters that have massive power and very questionable hit tools. Now, agreed that Hendrick has a lot of work ethic. He puts in a lot of work. In this write-up that I had on here, similar to Rhys Heinz, you're going to see somebody who, hits the ball really, really, really hard. He hits the ball for, 7 home runs in low A Daytona. He had 23 extra base hits as well in 63 games. Once again, that's very, very impressive. He does have a lot of speed in the outfield, but I don't think that speed is going to completely translate to the, on the base paths. So you can't really expect a whole lot of stolen bases. You'll probably get a few here and there. What I really liked about his game is that he had a 19.2% walk rate. So that leads me to believe that the eye is very good at the plate. The strikeouts are extremely high. Now, how much of this is passive, allowing these strikeouts to happen without, attacking the baseball? Right. That could be the case as well. But there is no doubt that a 37.6% strikeout rate is not good. For those of you who do not know, 37.6 is not good. So
he got some Joey Gallo to his game.
He really does. But here's the thing: he can overcome that. Yep. But you're right. Yep. He's been listening to so many different people, and he changes his mechanics frequently to be able to try to go off of what other people are saying. He needs to find what works best for him and go from there. This is a guy that will stick at a 350 OBP, 25, 30 homer bat or more. It's not hard to believe in that great American launching pad that he could get more. It's just a matter of how much he could hit. And whenever I was doing this write-up, I could not give you guys a projected batting average because I really don't know where he's going to end up. If he's going to end up a 230, hitter that's barely, making any contact, or all of a sudden he figures it out. He's a 260, 270 hitter.
He's a 260 hitter. He's one of the best players that I've seen in 15 years. If he's a 265, he's got a 400 OBP, and he is a MVP level candidate because of everything else he does.
No, that's 100%. That's 100% facts. Really, he could theoretically put Pete Alonso to shame if he hits 260.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking. Moving on here, we're going to go to another youngin that you have here in your Cincinnati Reds system here. Ellie De La Cruz. He is I'd say classified infielder, third base, second base combo right now. 19 years old, 6'2", 150 pounds. He was signed July 2nd of 2018 by your Cincinnati Reds. What can you tell me a little bit about Ellie De La Cruz?
Ellie De La Cruz, he was a really young kid. We have seen a lot recently in international signing a lot of these guys. Made it to A-ball. Wasn't overly impressive. Had a 305 OBP at low A, not average. Struck out a lot. Walks weren't quite there. Stole bases, 5 homers. He's one of those guys that I feel like is like the sum of his parts, right? He's got a good swing. People really like the way he runs. He's above average runner. He's got some raw power. He's got some raw power that he can come into. He's got good instincts. He can stick it short. To me, he's like poor man Matt Mclean. So this is where I think this part of the system really falls off. Some people really like him. I put him here because I see the potential. He could be a solid utility bat. Like I said, Matt McClain light. There's some raw power. He's young. He's moved up the ladder. They seem to really like him. I don't see the fantasy outlet here. But I do think if you're 20 and up, he's somebody who I think utility type role, second, third, a little short. I think he has all those abilities. You know, the raw power comes, 20 homer bat, that's great. But he's probably more of a 260 hitter. You know, I think the walk's going to be 320 OBP. He'll be solid, not spectacular. So not a guy I'm crazy high on. This is where like from bat, he really falls off. There's not a lot in the red system. That has a lot of minor league experience.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they really foresee him kind of moving off the shortstop position and moving to third primarily. There's a lot of projection on this body, is what they're seeing. Quick hands. They do believe he could be a 5-tool contributor as he matures. Once again, we kind of got to see that come into fruition. Good numbers this year. Struggled a little bit whenever he got to low A. But decent numbers in the DSL previously. You know, this is a guy just really to keep an eye on, and you're right, in deeper dynasty leagues, this is a good target to be able to kind of load up your minor leagues system with. So, moving along here, we're going to be talking about your next prospect here, Mr. Andrew Abbott. He is a left-handed pitcher, 22 years old, 6 foot, 180 pounds, a lefty. Came out of this year's draft, the 2021 draft, out of the second round. He was taken 53rd overall by your Cincinnati Reds. What can you tell me about the pitcher that is known as Andrew Abbott?
I'll tell you what. I like him a lot. I don't know if he starts for the Reds long term. He finally got a chance to start in college at the end. Virginia. And you know, a lot of things came out great. But he's kind of small. He's 6 foot. He throws a lower 90s fastball, about 95, 96. But he's got absolute filthy breaking ball. It's like a power slurve almost. It is a dynamic outpitch, and that'll ultimately be his calling card. So I think you probably see him as a reliever. In 13 innings last year, he had 22 Ks. You know, only four walks. I really think he's going to be dynamic. I don't see him as a starter. Rough. That's a little rough, but I don't think we need him to be that. We'll see if the change-up can develop. Maybe I change my mind. But you know me, I don't love smaller starters. But I think you see how good that curve is. You know, I think Pipeline has it as 60 grade. It's realistic 65. It's that good. I think you're going to see a good back end of the bullpen. I really like Andrew. We need more bullpen pieces. So
yeah. I think best case scenario for Abbott would be like an SP5, but even that being said, he'd be a lot like Justin Dunn.
Right.
I think where he really profiles more as a relief pitcher, but they just try to push him. I don't think the Reds are going to do that. I do think he'll end up in the bullpen. And you know, decent numbers. He just got hit a little bit and honestly got touched up with the home run ball a little bit in his small taste of pro ball. So
I love that Justin Dunn comp. I love that Justin because Justin Dunn started for the Mariners because he's a Mariners fan all of a sudden. He only started out of necessity. They just didn't really have a ton of major league level. They were great starters. So once you see the next batch, I think you'll see him as a opener. I like that comparison. Because Andrew Abbott is going to try to start. I think he's going to be really good in the bullpen. That curve is nasty.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, Dunn was a two-pitch pitcher coming out of Boston College whenever he was drafted by the Mets. So, you know, he developed the changeup to what he needed it to be, but he was primarily a two-pitch pitcher, very similar to Abbott. Moving right along to your number 10 prospect that you have here in your system. You knew that if I was going to be helping on this system that you had to throw in my boys here into the top 10, and you did good.
Yeah,
you did real good.
Hawk
number
special,
10 here. Special. That's it. The Hawk special right here. Tyler Callahan. He plays a little bit of second, a little bit of third. He plays really all over the diamond for that matter. 21 years old, 6'1", 205. He is a left-handed bat, selected in the 2019 draft in the third round, 85th overall by your Cincinnati Reds. Before I talk about him, what do you have to say about Tyler Callahan?
Are we getting a theme going here? With like inbuilders that can play everywhere. It's like the Reds had a plan.
Boom.
I mean, who knew? I mean, I still don't think they really had a plan. It was probably just coincidence. But Tyler Callahan, and let's just be honest, Tyler Callahan is a steady. He is going to be a very good steady. He hit almost 300 at low A last year. You know, not a lot of homers, not a lot of stolen bases. He's not going to be very flashy. But he only had 13 strikeouts in 23 games. He walked 8 times. 351 OBP. He is going to be very steady Eddie. He's going to be very capable of playing multiple positions. He's going to have a very high average. He is going to be solid. Will he be amazing? He will not. Don't expect that. But he is going to be a great steady Eddie for the Reds. Provide great depth at the ladder as he challenges pitchers and the system. Gives us some AAA fodder as he gets up there. I really like Tyler Callahan. I hope he keeps progressing. I hope he keeps growing. I would love to see the power. I don't know how much power's in that frame. He has 50 power. So being 6'1", 205, chances that maybe he grows into 20 homer pop. He's not a little guy. So maybe works on his swing, develops law. As they go up the system, people start worrying about launch angle. And it's 6'1", 205, launch angle play. And if he's all 20 homer bat. Tyler Callahan is no longer a steady Eddie. So, right? Yeah. So, you're the Tyler Callahan guy. I just think he's solid. I couldn't put him in the top 10. Knowing you love him so much. Take it away, Hawk.
No, I appreciate what you said on there, and you're absolutely right. That's exactly what I kind of, built up in this write-up, is that he is a steady Eddie. He's a very solid contributor. Out here, good average, good OBP. You're looking at what he was able to do this year, an 8.1% walk rate, and dropped that strikeout rate from his, pro debut. He was able to drop it to a 13.1% strikeout rate, which is, very, very strong in that way. So, I think if Callahan does do what you're talking about, you could easily kind of bet on a 280 to 290 average, 340, 350 OBP. I think the low end projection is probably going to be 10 to 15 bombs. You and I both know in that ballpark, you can come into home runs relatively simple. As long as you're making good contact, that ball will fly there. So it would not surprise me that if he's given everyday at bats, he could be a 20 home run bat. I do see him being very close to that Chris Taylor, KK Hernandez type of role where he can just play everywhere, second, short, third. He could kind of just do it all. Does he do it great? Probably not. But I think that he could just do everything well enough to be able to, fill in a pinch.
Well, and I just love what the Reds are doing here. I don't say that very often. Weird coming out of my mouth. But I love what they're doing. Notice how many Dodgers we mentioned. Like it's very Dodgers top, right? All the guys that can play multiple positions. They're fluid. They can pitch in different situations. They can hit in different situations. You're seeing that style. And I think maybe you have a plan that I don't feel sick about. So I'm really while there's not as much high end talent after five, maybe seven, not as much as some other systems. I'm really encouraged by the amount of steady Eddies projection that I see in some of the more safer, boring prospects.
Right. No, I can get behind that 100%. Once again, Hunter, you did an absolute fantastic job on this system.
As I.
Oh man, you did a fantastic job. I want to go through and just mention these again. Number 1 was Hunter Green. Number 2, Nick Lodolo. We had Jay Allen at number 3, Matt Mclean at number 4, Graham Ashcraft at number 5. We have Rhys Heinz here at number 6. Number 7 was Austin Hendrick. 8 is Ellie De La Cruz. And number 9 was Andrew Abbott. And number 10, finishing off that top 10, is Tyler Callahan. Now, for those of you who have seen our write-ups previously and now are Patreon members, thank you very much. But you can also see on here that Hunter goes through and he ranks 11 through 30 on the system to be able to give you guys a good idea of where we value these guys in this Reds farm system for you to be able to target in your dynasty leagues. I do ask everybody who does these write-ups to pick 2 players that they believe could be risers that could be able to get into this top 10 this time next year or have a major league impact. So, Hunter, who did you choose as your 2 risers in the Cincinnati Reds system?
So we'll pitcher first. Joe Boyle. Joe Boyle is my guy. Joe Boyle. And you've heard me say this a long time. Reliever risk never scares me. Because even an elite reliever is more valuable than a 4-star right? Sometimes, right? Joe Boyle had a 19. 8.89 K rate this year. Holy jabronis. Did he have an insane K rate? Joe Boyle is a massive human being, 6'7", 240. He has a loud fastball. He's got a name like Joe Boyle, which makes you want to like. I mean, look. If you go to Pipe and look at his face. He just has a face of someone like who just messes people up. Throws an 80 fastball. Eats a calzone. Punches some bloke in the face. I really like Joe Boyle. The downside is
he's a fighting Irish. It would make sense.
Yeah. Oh, dude. All day long. The downside is he had almost 10 walks per night. 10 walks per night. Who cares about that, right? I mean, it was bad. It was bad. It was pretty bad. I don't think he's a starter long term. I don't think he's going to be that. I want him to be. I think he would just be outstanding. But with 6'7" with an insane K rate, if he can just get the walks where they're not make you want to throw up in your Reds hat bad. He could be an elite closer at the next level. He was almost in my top 10 because I love elite. Give me that all day. Oh, give me a elite closer over a boring number 4 starter or utility guy. Give me the closer. I think he's fantastic. The other guy is like 11 years old. And his name is Carlos Jorge. Carlos Jorge is the guy that I kind of found while doing another one of these that we've talked about international signings we've gone into. And I really think Carlos Jorge might be the absolute, fine. He hit 346 this past year. Showed a lot of potential. He's kind of a smallish guy at 5'9". Not an overly big individual. So you wonder if Power's going to be there. If he's going to be able to carry the tools over. But he was absolutely fantastic in rookie ball. And I was very impressed. A lot of projection. A long way to go. But a lot of Reds that I follow that are close to the organization have just been very impressed with him. He had a K rate below 18, walk rate of 13, shade under 13. Still 27 bases. I really think he could be the shortstop position for them for a long time. We'll see how he projects. But I really think knowing people who love the national guys and people with these guys, he's the guy you can dynasty draft as the last pick. Indeed. And nobody will have heard of Carlos Jorge. But he's a guy you could take now. This much investment. Flip for triple. Call it the biscuit special.
There you go. You gotta love those biscuit specials, right?
Anybody who does leagues these 30 minutes knows that is the biscuit special. So
that is.
And I do it quite well. He's the guy that I'm going to be. When will this release? Tomorrow. I'm drafting right now, so I need to know. Don't like Dylan Jorge. Don't. Right. The business special. He's going to be the fifth round pick. You just watch.
Yep, exactly.
If he goes to the fourth round, at least I know people were listening.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Name or 2 I want to bring up here, just for me personally in this system. Christian Roa is one of my guys. I really do like, a very safe, steady Eddie type of pitcher. 22 years old, 6'4". 220 pounds, selected second round 2020 draft. I mean, this guy just has above average tools almost all the way across the board. Was great at Texas A&M. I thought it was a steal for the Reds whenever they drafted him. In 2021, struck out 67 batters in 58 2/3 innings. I really think that this could end up being a, back end of the rotation type of guy, but a very, very solid contributor for the Reds long term. I do want to make mention of Michael Cinoni. This is a guy that I believe will be able to, help contribute here relatively quickly. He's got to be pushed aggressively in 2022 if that's the case. But you're going to be seeing a lot of stolen bases. In 2019, he had 45 stolen bases in 121 games. He had 30 this year in 97 games. So if you're looking for somebody, that like, Jaron Duran from a couple of years ago where he had massive stolen base potential, this is a guy that you could be able to target and, try to see what happens, with the bat and see, if he can be able to, stick in the Reds, outfield long term. So, Hunter, once again, man, I am very, very thankful to be able to have you here on the pod talking about your favorite Cincinnati Reds prospects here. Once again, subscribe to the podcast, rate and review. Make sure that you reach out to your boy, Hunter Rakes at TWS_biscuit.
The Baron of Biscutville.
Something like that. So you guys got to go follow him on there if you're not already. Right. This guy posts more than I do. I promise you. Between him and the Irishman, they rule the roost here with the weekly streamer. You'll see more of me during the regular season when we're getting minor league content. But this guy, he's on his stuff, man. And whenever you can follow what he's doing, you're gonna win your leagues. I promise you that. So yeah, go check him out. Go to the Facebook page. Join in on the conversations there and check out the brand new Weekly Streamer Patreon page. There you'll be able to find everything that we offer here at the Weekly Streamer. And trust me, it is a ton. $5 a month is all that it costs to be able to get pretty much the majority of what we're offering here. 500 dynasty rankings, 600 prospect rankings, first-year player breakdowns for the 2020, 21, and 22 season is now up there on Patreon.
And I cannot understate how much we offer that with our Discord channel. How valuable having a group to talk to about trade offers, ideas. We have a lot of great guys in this group. Great advice. I will tell you this. The reason why I've been successful in my league is having guys to bounce ideas off of. The $5 a month, even for that, is invaluable. Just the trade advice. At the end of the day, I'll trade all day as long as you win it. Everybody in this league, do well to win everything they can. So if you can do it, we appreciate it. But as great as the rankings are, the Discord chat is going to be where it's at. So
on top of that, exactly what we just went over today, it's going to be in writing form. A lot of what we talked about is not. There's more in the writing than what we talked about today. So you'll be able to see that. You'll be able to see the risers that Hunter was talking about, as well as the rankings. On top of that, you'll see Matty Ball games, pitching breakdowns. Those things are fantastic. And, hopefully here soon we're going to be bringing out the Setup Men podcast, and the Full Count pod is going to be coming back here soon, Hunter, I believe. So that's going to be awesome. Make sure you guys tune in for that. You can find that all here on the Weekly Streamer Network. And, of course, from all of us here at the Weekly Streamer, make sure that you guys have yourselves a great baseball week.
We start recording.